Bruce.
Okay, I'm going to call to order the Charter Township of Oxford Board of Trustees regular meeting, Wednesday, February 14th, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. Would we all please rise and pay respects to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Noting of the roll, please.
Noted, there is a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the following changes. The elimination of 5, the addition of 15A, moving everything down, Parks and Rec Master Plan Resolution, and the reversal of items K and L.
Before, I have a second by, I have a motion by Treasurer Fry and a second by the Trustee Colvin. Item A, you wanted to add the resolution?
Parks and Rec Master Plan.
Okay.
Move everything down.
Phil was not gonna come here until almost 7:15 today, because we had a full agenda in front of him, and we told him he was last.
We could always table that and come back to it. If somehow we're there at 7:15. You want to do that? That's how I would do it. If we get there and he's not here, we'll just go by. and
Roll
go.
call?
Well, we got further discussion. I just want to
Sure.
I didn't get a chance to write down these changes, Joe, on my agenda sheet.
It was removing item 5,
Yeah,
and then taking 15K and 15L and switching those two, L before K, and then adding Parks and Rec resolution to A, and then moving everything down.
okay.
Is that right, Joe?
You are correct, sir.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, no. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
No.
Trustee Payne.
No.
Trustee Colvin.
No.
Supervisor Curtis.
No.
Okay, do you want to move things down further then?
Yeah, we want to move Parks and Rec to the end.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the following changes. Elimination of item 5, the switching of K and L, and putting Parks and Rec Master Plan as the new J. Second?
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item 6, approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second?
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari. I have a second by Trustee Noel. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item number 7, public comment on items not on the agenda. The agendas are up on the table there, so if you have an item you'd like to speak to this board about, it's not on the agenda, now you have 3 minutes to step up to the podium. Sir.
Good evening, Brian Cloutier, Director, Oxford Public Library. This evening, I do want to introduce to you our new Director of Engagement, but before I do that, I just want to share a couple things with you. For information, we look at our 2023 statistical data, and the library circulated 217,627 items. We offered 570 programs and 34,150 people attending those. We had 9,373 people either use our wireless internet access or our public access computers. We served 6,666 people through our outreach services, and we offered community room space for 1,167 groups. Our reference staff has been very busy in answering 16,554 reference questions. During the year, we welcomed over 145,000 people into our building, and during the Smithsonian exhibit alone, we welcomed 15,931 visitors. And that dates from December 2 through February 9. Which brings me to my next point. With the library becoming more and more busy and with things changing, looking at our strategic plan and our plan of service, we made the decision to bring on a Director of Engagement Services to the public library. So this evening, I'm pleased to welcome Sandy Herp to Oxford Public Library into its leadership team as its Director of Engagement Services. Sandy brings 25 years of experience in leadership roles in communications, fundraising, digital marketing, and brand management in both private and nonprofit sectors. Sandy holds a BA in English and Community Journalism from Western University and certification in grant writing and proposal presentation from the University of Michigan. I'm going to let Sandy introduce herself. Sandy, if you'd like to come up.
Hi there, my name is Sandy Herp. I do have 25 years of experience, 22 of which I was with the Detroit Auto Dealers Association, and we own and operated the North American International Auto Show. And I've lived here in Oxford with my family for 19 years in the same house. And so I'm very excited to be here and very excited to be a part of Oxford Library. And if anyone has any questions with engagement on the library, or I would be the person to touch base with. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public have comments on items not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to Board of Trustee comments. Item 8. I'm going to start, I'll start with Trustee Charles tonight.
It's a lucky day, I don't have any comments.
Right.
Yeah, just letting the public and the general public know that early voting starts Saturday for the presidential primary. That voting site is at the Orion Township Hall, if you're interested in voting early in that primary. Also, Trustee Charles and I went out and toured the township last week, and we did not find any infestation of gypsy moths or spongy moths, as they call them, so we are recommending not to participate in the program this year. And those are my comments.
Treasurer Ferrari.
I'll reserve mine until the last section of trustee comments.
Thank you. Trustee Noel. Nothing. Trustee Payne.
Nothing at this time.
Trustee Colvin.
I just want to let everyone know that the Oxford VDA just recently passed its Main Street accreditation, so we are officially a Main Street community again.
Thank you. I have a couple comments. Tomorrow, after the hard work of the Water and Sewer Committee, Treasurer Ferrari, Daniel Smith, CJ, everybody involved, we will be closing on a $3.5 million bond for our 18-inch sewer line, approximately 7,000 feet to the north. Construction will start very shortly as soon as that money's in the bank, and we should start seeing things going on. We are converting from VC3 in our IT capabilities. I know a couple trustees have a problem with their computers right now, but March 1st, they will be here February 23rd to start offboarding and onboarding for High Tech, who's a local company, to come work for us. The last one, Tom Berger. Tom is still in the hospital. Chokes me up. And Tom was he's our building official, inspector, plan review, longtime member of the community, and our thoughts and prayers go out to Tom. That's it. Item 9, public hearing.
I moved to open a public hearing at 6:39 p.m. to discuss industrial facilities exemption certificate application on parcel 0404376006.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Payne. Is that right? Okay, open the public hearing. Roll call, please.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. board members, or audience board members, the public hearing notice is in reference to the industrial facilities exemption certificate application for Barron Industries. Do you want to come up and tell us or speak about your project, your program, and what's going to mean to Oxford, so the
Okay.
public understands?
Sure.
Don't be shy.
You get the experience.
Well, come up here.
Okay, I'll come up with you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
As Jack knows, Bruce, who would normally be here, is in the air somewhere between here and Denver with a 5-hour delay. So we were asked to stand in for him, and I know it's not a great substitute, but this is Greg Barron from Barron Industries. I'm Steve Arwood from Grand Ledge, Michigan, SD Arwood Corporation. I've been working with Bruce on this project since its inception and have helped him actually negotiate the state incentives and helped it through the tax abatement process. An exciting project. As you know, we're now in the final throes of planning a nearly $10 million investment, which would be a new addition, or a new facility to Oxford and to Barron Industries. Interesting about this new facility is it's a standalone facility, not dependent on the current facility. The current facility is a foundry, specifically built for foundry operations, castings, and the work that's been done there for many years. The new facility will be an approximate 20,000 square foot clean room facility, which will advance Barron into, and I'll let you explain the technologies you can advance into, because you probably know better than I will.
Okay, so it's going to be mainly a machining facility for casting. So one of the things, the castings are a rough shape. They have to be milled to very tight tolerances, and this is mostly for defense and aerospace jobs. So that's the idea of the clean room. And also, you know, we're using 3D printing technology that we've been using for 25 years, make patterns to make the castings, and we're doing work on a project that the government funded to improve the timing of being able to get castings by pouring 3D printed ceramic molds, and eventually it'll get into some 3D printed metal parts. But our machining, we just took possession of 3 new CNC machines. We had to put them in our warehouse because we don't have enough room right now. There's about 16 machines, and there's a lot of demand, and especially in the defense companies that work for the government can't get enough castings, and especially machine castings. And there's nothing worse than having the machine shop and the foundry be a separate place, so it works out really well to have the same people make the castings and machine them. And we've earned accreditations from GE Aviation and Boeing also to do the casting work and the inspections that go along with it, so we see a lot more work coming. We even have a lot of long-term agreements to make parts for GE, and it's increasingly demanding, and the customers are more demanding, more sophisticated, so they want to see this type of clean room facility that will ensure them that, you know, we're living up to the standards and have the quality they need.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the audience during the public hearing? If not,
I make a motion to close the public hearing at 6:44 p.m. Discuss industrial facilities exemption certificate application, parcel 0404-376-006.
second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Payne. Any questions? Hearing none. Roll call.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Sorry about that, ladies, if I picked the wrong voice. Item 9B, public hearing, Great Pines Manor subdivision, paving special assessment district.
I move to open the public hearing at 6:45 PM to discuss the establishment of the Great Pines Manor subdivision special assessment district. To your objections to the objection to the assessments to be levied, and to correct any errors in the special assessment roll.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Clerk Wright. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. At this time, this is the second public hearing to give the public a chance to talk about anything, errors in the special assessment roll. It will be levied against the homeowners in that subdivision. Are there any comments from the public regarding the special assessment district for paving of Great Pines?
Yeah,
Come on up to the microphone, please.
Yeah. I'm just curious as to what happens in this assessment as far as water management on the lots that are at the end of the subdivision where, in my estimation, there should have been culverts on each one of them. I own the property that's across the road from somebody, and it's a continuous barrage of water that runs across this road. And I had asked these questions before, and I just never heard anything back, so I'm wanting to find out what exactly is going on along with the assessment. Are they going to do something on that side of the road? It was never intended to be that way. There's a pass-through that goes under the road at the end of the street. And what I'm afraid of is we're all going to spend a bunch of money, and then, if the thing continues to run across the road the way that it is, it's going to deteriorate and have the same thing.
I appreciate your concern and question, but this board can't answer those because we're not engineers.
Yeah.
We have not applied for any engineering permits to do that. Your board members have to do that at the homeowners association.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Yep. Thank
Sorry.
you.
Thank you. Any other board or any other public want to speak about Great Pines paving? Seeing none?
I move to close the public hearing, discuss the establishment of the Great Pines Manor subdivision, special assessment district. Your objections to the special assessments to be levied and correct any errors on the special assessment roll at 6:48 PM.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Colvin. Got it right that time. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Okay, board members, in front of us tonight, we have item 10, the first reading of the sign ordinance 85.A.001. And I know our planner, Carlisle Wortman, is here. If you'd like to address that with the board for us, so we know and the public knows what we're talking about on the first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. We were before you last month and gave a short presentation on the sign ordinance, but just to recap, the proposal is to take the sign regulations out of the zoning ordinance, make a separate standalone sign ordinance to give the township some more flexibility in terms of dealing with nonconformities when a sign doesn't comply with the rules, and also with billboards specifically. You have 20 billboards in the township. Hardly any of them comply with your current rules or some of the rules that are proposed in the sign ordinance. And so to allow some flexibility for non-conforming billboard signs to be allowed to be turned into electronic message signs, and also to have more modern regulations around electronic message signs in general, which you do allow already. And also, instead of using zoning districts, which we don't all experience the world as zoning districts, except maybe if you're somebody like me who's immersed in planning and zoning all the time, but rather to use sign districts on Lapeer Road, because you have different characters on Lapeer Road. South of the village to the border has a specific character, and so the sign should be like that. From north of the village up until about midway, and then past Ray Road, that's being a separate sign district and having their separate regulations in each. For the rest of the township, if it's zoned residential, there would be certain regulations. If it's zoned public or semi-public, there would also be different regulations and different regulations for industrial. And all of your commercial zoning happens to be along Lapeer Road, so that wouldn't be an issue. I know that a number of you had questions before. I'd be happy to answer any questions or clarifications that you would like on the first reading.
Okay, board members, I know Trustee Noel has worked on this for how many years? The ordinance review subcommittee with Carlisle Wortman together have put together a complex, taken a complex item, tried to simplify it for both the applicants and for enforcement and for the betterment of the community. Are there any questions at this time for the first reading? Seeing none,
I move to approve the first reading, Township sign ordinance, and hereby set the second reading for April 10th, 2024.
second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari and a second by Trustee Noel. Any questions? Yes,
Just confirm, it's gonna be April 10th?
Yep.
2 months?
That's what was recommended.
Okay.
yes,
Probably the planning commission.
right. Okay, roll call.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
Trustee Noel?
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis?
Yes. Item 11A, second reading of the sewer ordinance, 107A.009, Water Sewer Committee. Take it on, Curtis?
Sure, I'll take that one. Before your board is the second reading for the sewer ordinance. It's not going to be approved for a second reading because we have a few more changes to do to it. And one of those changes is to adopt a resolution for a sewer fee penalty for non-payment. So in your packet on electronic page 249 is that resolution. One thing in the resolution, though, we're not adopting the second reading for the code ordinance for that, so we'll need to amend this resolution, or what we can do is adopt a resolution to enforce the $15 penalty as recommended on the late fees for the sewer, and then come back for a second reading at a later date and putting this fee in there by resolution.
We have some questions. Treasurer Ferrari?
In our packet, there's two separate motions. One to approve the second reading, and one to approve the resolution.
Correct. So you won't be approving the second reading this evening?
Why?
Number one, it was not advertised. Number two is because you would have to re-advertise it for a second reading, or reintroduce it for a second reading to get the fee penalty into the ordinance.
It looks like it's supposed to be part of the resolution, not an ordinance.
Well, you're gonna set your penalties by resolution, and this is a resolution that would set those fees.
The resolution will set the delinquent fees, then that'll be applied to the second reading as a change in the delinquent fees. The resolution will make that change to the ordinance. Correct?
So we have to approve a new second reading.
Well, good evening. I did submit an ordinance change that allowed you to approve the fee by resolution. So if you approve the fee by resolution, you don't need to make that change to the ordinance. That change is already included for second reading. So if you have other changes outside of that very minor change, you can delay approving your second reading tonight. But I did put in your ordinance that's in the packet tonight that the penalty fee will be set by resolution of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis.
I move to approve the second reading of the Oxford Township Code, Article 3, Sewers and Sewage Disposal, and direct the Township Clerk to publish that ordinance in accordance with state law.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari a second by trustee Noel. Questions? Clerk Wright?
Yeah, that ordinance was never advertised for the second reading, so technically you cannot approve it.
Okay. That's the issue. You didn't, it's not, it hasn't been noticed appropriately.
Correctly.
Okay, so you can here, I'll come talk to the microphone. What I would recommend is that you pass your resolution tonight, you notice your ordinance, and you pass your, you consider your second reading at your next meeting. And that way you'll have your new penalty fees.
So we don't adopt this?
You're not gonna adopt your second reading tonight, the reason being that it wasn't noticed in accordance with state law, which
Should we adopt the resolution part?
Yes.
yes, to set your penalty fees.
Okay, I'll rescind my motion.
We have to vote it down.
Vote it down, it's been seconded.
Yeah. Roll call?
Trustee Charles?
No.
Clerk Wright, no. Treasurer Ferrari?
No.
Trustee Noel?
No.
Trustee Payne? No. Trustee Colvin?
No.
Supervisor Curtis?
No.
I move to approve the resolution, set the penalty fee for late payment of sewer fees, or authorize the township clerk to certify and file same.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by trustee Noel. Now, is there any questions? Hearing none, roll call?
Trustee Noel?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis?
Yes.
And Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
All right, that didn't take long. Item 12, fire department. How's the baby doing, by the way?
Baby's doing well.
Our fire department delivered a baby last night on what road?
I don't want to say that.
Yeah. But thank you to all the shift that made that happen.
Yeah, new Valentine's special for family in town for sure. So, good evening, Mr. Supervisor and board. Two items I have on the agenda tonight for you. Is the first being the replacement of one of our Tahoes that we decommissioned and sold back in 2022 that had over 130,000 miles on it. We've been piecemealing stuff back together to kind of get us through. We were not able to replace the vehicle at that time due to supply chain issues still, and we were not able to replace it last year, and now they're available. Sadly though, even through the My Deal process where we get the best bid possible, we've seen an increase in almost $9,000 from what it would have been had we been able to buy it 2 years ago. And that's also probably in part due to the new labor contracts with the big three. So, as other things that are going to be coming, they'll be coming probably in the next month or two as well to move up some of our ambulance purchases that were also budgeted. And we're trying to rearrange and make do and push things out further down the line. And this is just one of those that we have to move forward with now, just because of our growth and the things that we've got going on internally between EMS coordinator stuff, the high school EMT program, the inspectors division and fire marshal division, I should say, and just as the way we're growing, So I would respectfully request that we get approval to move forward with this purchase.
I move to approve the purchase of a 2024 Chevrolet Tahoe from Berger Chevrolet at a price of $51,478, and to approve the estimate from Synergy Products dated 1/31/2024, amount of $15,404.78. Funds to be expensed to 2024 Oxford Fire Department Fund 206-357-970.000 vehicle purchase. Further, Fire Chief Matthew Majestic is authorized to sign any necessary purchase agreements, purchase documents on behalf of the Charter Township of Oxford.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by trustee Charles. Are there any questions? Yes.
When will you get delivered?
If I give them the go-ahead tomorrow, there's actually one that's slated for production February 26th. That was backed out by somebody else, and it's the same package. And they said production date of the 26th, expected delivery date somewhere between March 23rd and April 2nd. So we actually this one, we could fall right into this one unless somebody snapped it up today, but as of this afternoon, it was still available, so.
Any other questions? Yes.
So this will replace the vehicle, are you gonna sell it, trade it in, or? Is this replacing the vehicle?
This is replacing one that we got rid of 2 years ago, and, yeah, the one that was rusting out, and, yeah.
Roll call.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Okay, Chief.
The second item, yeah, is the update to our EMS fee structure. We last increased our fee structure 2 years ago based on direction from Acumed, our billing company, based on the approved Medicare and Medicaid allowable guidelines. We did not increase them last year. We felt we could stay where we were. This year, Acumed is telling us we need to kind of catch up because of the way inflation has gone and things that they are allowing for. And if you look at where we are on the current billing fee structure is in your packet, as well as the proposed increase. Not too crazy, and it is still within line with everything. We're not going above and beyond. We're kind of staying right with the recommendations of Acumed. Additionally to that, we are not changing any of the process of billing to residents of Oxford Township or Village. We will only, for residents of our community, we still will bill their insurance company, and we will accept whatever their insurance company pays us. We do not send them to collections or anything like that. We only pursue fees for non-residents of Oxford Village or Township. So if a person even doesn't have insurance, we just eat that one, right? We don't try to put a hardship on the residents in any way that way. We'll take whatever their insurance pays.
I move to approve the Acumed Group EMS fees changes and authorize Oxford Fire Chief Matthew Majestic to sign the Acumed Group EMS fee authorization form. The fee change to be effective March 1, 2024.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item 13.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Item 13, the Sharp Engineering Report included in the board pack. Engineer Sharp's here if you have any questions. If not, we'll move on. Thanks, Jim. Item 14A, unfinished business. Approval of the industrial facilities tax exemption application for parcel 04-04-376-006. I know we've had the landowner, the Barons, and Steve was up here talking about this proposal. We've had public hearings on it. So I want to move to approve the resolution and agreement granting a 12-year industrial facilities tax exemption to Barron Industries for the existing industrial facilities tax exemption and authorize the clerk and supervisor to execute the same.
Second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Curtis, a second by Trustee Payne. Any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
No.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, I move to approve the Act 198 agreement with Barron Industries and authorize the Township Supervisor to execute the same.
Second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Curtis. This one's gonna be tough. I'm gonna give it to Trustee Payne. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Treasurer Ferrari.
No.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item 14B, motion to transfer the funds to the fire department for the MERS funding contribution. Board members, during the budget process, we discussed with our auditor the amount that should be transferred. Treasurer Ferrari brought it to my attention that we need a motion by this board to actually transfer those funds.
I'll make a motion that the Oxford Township Board of Trustees transfers $175,000 from account number 101-995-965.206 to the Oxford Fire Fund, account number 206-000-699.101. The additional MERS payments to be included in the next available Fire Department MERS payment.
Second.
A motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. I was writing a note. What was that amount again, Joe?
$175,000.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Trustee Charles, yes.
It's a, ties in but not exactly to the issue. Has there been any discussion offering these folks a buyout from the defined benefit plan? Is that of any interest?
I know it's kind of been talked about. I don't think anything formal has been approved.
I think only one person has ever, I've only ever heard one person talk about it. So,
And how many people are there involved with
there
it?
are 7 of us.
7 people, and 1 person might. Okay. Okay, well, maybe for future discussion, maybe there's pros and cons to the buyout, but this is not the time or place to get into that.
I've got to fully fund it this time.
Right.
Yes. Okay, roll call.
Treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
Trustee Payne,
Yes.
Trustee Noel,
Yes.
Trustee Charles,
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Okay, item 14C, Great Pines Manor subdivision, resolution number 4. Clerk Wright?
Board members, this is the final resolution to be approved for the Great Pines Manor subdivision repaving special assessment project. This will confirm the role of the special assessment and to proceed with the special assessment and to assess the cost of the special assessment. So in your packet, you'll see the breakdown of the allocations for the assessment itself. And within this resolution, we'll have to pick a percentage of the interest rate on the SAD and also when we commence with that interest rate. So I guess I'll move any questions if anybody has any.
Curtis, on this motion, it doesn't say it's going to be on the tax rolls. Is the goal to put on the tax roll every year? Or do you send them a bill every year?
You'll send them, it'll be in a tax bill. It'll be just like it's regular assessment.
Your SADs for the pipe.
Yeah.
So I get a motion payable on each installment due date. So it's got to be something that's below the tax roll. I move to approve the resolution number 4, approval of special assessment roll, Great Pines Manor subdivision repaving, special assessment district. Include all unpaid installments shall bear an interest rate of 5.5%, payable annually on each winter tax roll. The installment date commencing with the winter 2024 tax roll, and to approve the special assessment roll attached as Exhibit 1, resolution number 4, implement a private road repaving special assessment district, Great Pines Manor subdivision.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Are there any questions?
Quick question, Jim.
Yes, sir.
How do we set the interest rate on this?
It's an average of what we're getting right now in the bank. So at least the taxpayers will end up being made whole because that's what we'd be getting if we invested those funds.
So all the money market and CD accounts that you have invested, you take an average.
Yes.
It's about 5.5.
Right now you're getting about 5.5.
Yep.
Well, some are getting more. but-
Some are a little more, but we want to be
Yeah,
fair to both
The
sides.
average is 5.5.
So, okay, 2.75.
Anybody
Good
else?
deal.
Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Moving on, new business, item 15A, 42 Strong Charitable Gaming License Request. I asked Mr. McCormick to come tonight. I don't know, did Joel?
I'm here.
show up?
He's over here.
Hey, I'm here.
Oh, there he is, way back there, okay. Did you want to come up and
Sure.
talk about this and just
Absolutely.
tell the camera and the crew what you're up to and?
Yep.
Sure, thank you.
First of all, thank you guys, and I appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you guys and the consideration for
our needs for a charitable gaming license. So my name's Joel McCormick. I've lived in Oxford for, I don't know, since '96. I am on the board of directors for 42 Strong. I am the treasurer, operations director. For those who aren't familiar, is everybody familiar with our program? Knows what we do? Great. So I'll give you some quick updates. Year one, we started with 230 kids, 19 team leaders. We're in the closing period of year two. We have 430 kids, 30 team leaders. This year we became NQMS certified, which is National Quality Mentoring System, which is similar to like an ISO 9000. And just this month we launched a partnership with University of Michigan where our program is part of the School of Social Work's online integrated behavioral and health professional certificate program. So they recognize what we are doing. We built a curriculum for them. As you guys can understand, as we grow, so do our expenses and our needs. And so the desire and the need to continue to grow funds through fundraising elements such as charitable gaming is why I put the proposal from you. All the paperwork you guys should have, and basically I need you all to recognize us as a 501c3 in the community. Questions from anybody? Yeah.
Yes.
Joel, I want to thank you for everything that you do.
I
My
appreciate
son's a
that.
mentor to the program. He's learned a lot from that.
I appreciate that.
I move that the local governing body resolution for charitable gaming licenses request for 42 Strong, County of Oakland, Michigan, asking that they be recognized as a nonprofit organization operating in the Oxford community for the purpose of obtaining a charitable gaming license, be considered for approval and authorize Clerk Curtis W. Wright to sign the resolution on behalf of the Charter Township of Oxford.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Charles. Any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Item 15B, Oxford Addison Youth Assistance Charitable Gaming License Request. Is anybody here from?
Well, I can read this if you want.
Sure.
It's very similar to what Joel was just talking about. We require recognition from the board to get the state license, and I'll read this verbatim. Oxford Addison Youth Assistance will have a charity euchre event on March 19th, 2024. As part of the event, we're going to have a 50-50 raffle drawing, which requires a charitable gaming license from the state of Michigan. It's one of the requirements. The local body, which is Oxford Township, must approve a local governing body resolution for charitable gaming licenses. Attached to the request from Oxford Addison Youth Assistance and local governing body resolution for charitable gaming licenses to be approved. So, following resolutions offered for consideration. I move that the local governing body resolution for charitable gaming licenses request from Oxford Addison Youth Assistance, County of Oakland, Michigan, asking that they be recognized as a nonprofit organization operating in the Oxford community for the purpose of obtaining a charitable gaming license, be considered for approval, and authorize Clerk Curtis W. Wright to sign the resolution on behalf of the Charter Township of Oxford.
I will second that.
I have a motion by Trustee Charles and a second by Treasurer Ferrari. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item 15C, increase to the inspector pay increase request. Building official London is not here tonight, but I'll go through this. With the sick leave of Bob Gerds, our heating and cooling plumbing inspector.
Can we stop and let Margie abstain before we start the deliberations?
You gotta make that
Oh,
motion.
let me back up then. Let's make that motion.
Trustee Payne is requested to be allowed to abstain because of possible financial interest. I move to allow Trustee Payne to abstain from discussion, deliberation, and action on this item because of perceived and actual financial interest.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Charles. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Payne.
Can't vote.
Yes, she can vote on this.
Or can she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Let me get back to where I was, I'm sorry. With what's going on in our inspection department, we have two individuals now out on sick leave, trying to find substitute inspectors from the surrounding communities. We're finding that the inspector's pay is not comparable, and we're trying to raise it to at least comparable to the communities around us. None are going above some of those communities, and they are not on the same pay schedule, but we're submitting a request to raise the trade inspectors to $50 per inspection.
In addition. In addition to Jack, what they're getting?
No, raise it to $50 per inspection.
I'll make a motion that we increase the trade inspector's pay to $50 per inspection.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Colvin. Roll call? Oh, any questions? I'm sorry. Yes, Clerk Wright,
Effective date, another motion,
be today.
be today.
A quick question.
Yes,
Are they paid 1099 employees? Or
yes,
how they
they're
work?
contracted. Roll call?
Trustee Noel,
Yes.
trustee Colvin,
Yes.
trustee Charles,
Yes.
treasurer Ferrari,
Yes?
clerk Wright, yes, and supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Okay, item 15D. Joe, you want to take that one? The creation of industrial facilities exemption ordinance?
Yeah, board members, as you know, it was kind of late in the game for our last request. We had a tax abatement policy. We talked about it may be best to make it into an ordinance, so in case we get future requests, the applicant will know what the township would like to have taken care of. So with that, I'll make a motion that the Oxford Township Board of Trustees vote the adopted Oxford Township Industrial Facilities Tax Payment Policy and the Kelly Law Firm recommended into an official township ordinance. Once the Kelly Law Firm has finished its review of possible revisions, the new industrial facilities tax abatement ordinance will be presented for a first reading at the next regularly scheduled township board meeting.
Second,
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Clerk Wright. Are there any questions?
This will be a standalone policy?
No, it's going to be, it is a standalone policy, but it will become an ordinance.
So we have to work people's memories.
Right now, it's just a policy, and it was forgotten until the last minute. If it's an ordinance, everybody will remember where it's at.
Will this be a standalone ordinance or part of our?
Speak up.
We have,
well, in my opinion, defer to the attorney, but I believe it would be a standalone ordinance, not part of the zoning.
That's accurate, it's not a zoning regulation, it's not a land use regulation.
Thank you.
The dullest pencil is brighter than the sharpest mind. Roll call?
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
trustee Payne,
yes,
trustee Charles,
Yes.
trustee Noel,
Yes.
treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
clerk Wright, yes, and supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Let me move down. Item 15E, Planning Commission Ordinance Review Committee Priority List and Funding Approval. Trustee Noel.
We have in our audience tonight Megan to stand up and talk to us about the schedule as well as the funding required by Carlisle.
Board members, in your packet is a schedule of ordinance reviews that need to happen, and planner Megan will tell us what they are.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So the ORC is looking in the next year to update its solar, wind, and battery storage regulations. That's imperative due to pending changes in state law that come into effect at the end of November. The ORC has already looked at it twice and this has draft language, but that's probably going to be the most difficult lift for the ORC. There's also zoning amendment criteria that needs to happen, changes to the development process to codify some of the things that your building department has put in their development manual. And so to make sure that we have the backup in the zoning ordinance, to make sure all the developers get everything in on time and the way they should. Also, changes to lighting regulations. A lot of these are asked for as conditions of site plans. We'd rather put them in the zoning ordinance itself. There's been some changes in state law to state licensed residential uses. So those are your home daycares. And definitions need to be updated in order to bring it into compliance. And also looking at electrical vehicle charging stations, having regulations around those, as well as looking at animal definitions. Some of your animal definitions right now are not consistent with regulatory language. The ORC is committed to meeting every second Thursday at noon, and so we'll have a regular schedule, and we're confident that we'll be able to accomplish all of this. In terms of the fees estimated by Carlisle Wortman, those are worst case scenario, not to exceed fees. We did a lot of work last year for just a little bit more than that, and I'm confident that we'd be able to keep those that cost to the township from services from us in order to support the ORC under that amount that's estimated in your packet tonight.
Part of this started about 6 years ago when we wanted to make sure we knew what the planning commission was working on as far as ordinance reviews directed by this board. So we're in that process right now.
I move to approve an amount not to exceed $8,000 payable to Carlisle Wortman Associates to work with the Oxford Township Ordinance Review Committee to draft and adopt zoning ordinance amendments for the following identified priority 1 groups: signage, sound standards, limited solar regulations, zoning amendment criteria, changes to development processes, lighting, state licensed residential uses, electric vehicle charging stations, animal definitions. The $8,000 amount to be expensed to General Fund 101-701-801.000, planner, professional services.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Any questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
How does this tie in with what the committee is doing right now, the strategic plan committee, the 5-year plan committee?
Mean the master plan?
Yeah, the master plan, there's questions on there about solar and wind. Does that kind of fit in there at all or not? Is that part of what's?
Go ahead and address this, please.
So in terms of the master plan, renewable energy we could address broadly. However, there is a state law that's on the books due to go into effect at the end of November that has very specific regulations. And if your ordinances do not match what's in that state mandates, then any approvals of solar, wind, or battery storage over a certain megawatt level will automatically be approved by the Michigan Public Services Commission. So the zoning is much more specific. With the master plan, you can be much more broad in the master plan or specific on things that you want in terms of actions. Mr. Supervisor, can I just give a short update on the master plan if people are curious?
Sure, that would be good. That would be good.
So I know that there was a memo in your packet about that, but we are at a point where we've, the master plan community engagement committee has done the majority of their work. So they've sketched out a community engagement plan. Part of that was a survey that ends tomorrow. And then the next part is a community open house to be held at the Legacy Center on Sunday afternoon, March 10th, noon to 3. Flyers and advertisements for that will come out end of this week, beginning of next. And working with the Planning Commission, looking to ask the public about how to preserve open space, highlighting places where we think in the next 10 years there will be development, giving options of how those could be developed, and really having communications where people can look at boards and make some choices, and then those will come back to the Planning Commission in April, and they will really start looking at drafts, with a draft plan done by end of May, and at that point it would also come to you in June for you to look at that plan. Because you as the township board have to approve that plan to go out to the adjoining communities. So if you're interested, yeah, and then every second planning commission meeting is a workshop in February, March, April, and May to specifically work on the master plan, and we will continue to have updates in your packets.
Any questions? Yes.
About how many surveys have you gotten back so far?
Over 700.
About 700?
Mm-hmm.
You happy with that number?
Our goal was 1,000, but honestly, your staff, I want to compliment CJ and everything that he's done. Also, the steering committee and everything that they've done. I think I picked up 30 hard copies today of surveys that people had done. So while our goal was 1,000, I'm more than satisfied with over 500. And when also we look at the statistics in terms of demographics with it, I think it is representative of your community. And when we were looking at things where we were missing people who are renters, and also folks who were seniors, both your staff and specifically CJ and members of the steering committee, specifically Drew Holt, reached out to people and got the surveys to them. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the vote on the funding approval.
Treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles,
Yes.
Trustee Noel,
Yes.
Trustee Payne,
Yes.
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item 15F, streetlight installations. This started off from a private streetlight that is burned out all the way up to DTE coming and telling us, and some citizens from Brookfield. DTE came out and did a survey of Dunlap Road and Seymour Lake and Brookfield and Seymour Lake, recommending 2 lights. One at Seymour Lake and Dunlap, which is right off the end of the street, and one at Seymour Lake and Brookfield. The one at Seymour Lake and Dunlap, we have a pole there. The annual operating cost, the cost to construct, a 3-year revenue contract, it'll cost us nothing. The Brookfield light and a 58-watt LED overhead, they have to put a pole in with the reduction of the 3-year revenue credit due to LED. It went from $2,200 down to $1,373. That would install 2 illuminary lights at these 2 intersections.
I move to approve the installation of 2 LED overhead streetlights by DT Energy to be located on Seymour Lake Road at the Dunlap Road intersection and the Brookfield Drive intersection. A total cost of $1,373.22. That's $1,373.22 amount to be expensed to general fund, account number 101-448-926.000, streetlights.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Any questions? Trustee Charles.
Just to compliment Supervisor Curtis, I was in the office one day and one of the residents was in there asking questions about it, and he explained it thoroughly and in a positive manner, so the gentleman left very happy with his explanation. So, to compliment you.
Thank you. All right. I call the roll, please.
Treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles,
Yes.
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
Trustee Noel,
Yes.
Trustee Payne,
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Board members, attached item number 15G is the MEI card reader installation for the elevator. It took us this long to get through to the state to allow us to do this. Above and beyond the door locks in there, almost 5 months of state regulations to allow us to put the magnetic card reader on the elevator. So it's, the cost is $5,900, and I'm looking for approval to move forward with
I
that.
have a question.
Yes,
So currently, the elevator doesn't need a key or anything, is that correct?
that's correct,
Why would we put a card reader on it?
because it has access to the basement. It's the, we are,
Are
it
we
has
sec-
access,
Are we now securing something that was not secured before?
Correct. correct.
Okay, that's what I need to know.
Thank you.
I move to approve quote number 21822, dated January 9th, 2024 from MEI, the amount of $5,980. Authorized Supervisor Jack Curtis to sign the quote on behalf of the Charter Township of Oxford. This $5,980 amount to be expensed to general fund account number 101-265-976.000, additions and improvements.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Payne,
Yes.
Trustee Charles,
Yes.
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
Trustee Noel,
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis?
Yes. Okay, board members, item number 15H, sanitary sewer master plan cost estimates from Sharp Engineering. Board members, I'll take this one. It's the sanitary sewer master plan was last updated in 2014. The Oxford Township Water and Sewer Committee is recommending Sharp Engineering to update the current Oxford Township sanitary sewer master plan so that it can be included in the overall township master plan.
I move to approve an amount not to exceed $15,000. Authorize Sharp Engineering to update the Oxford Township sanitary sewer master plan. This $15,000 amount to be expensed to sewer fund account 590-527-821.000, engineering fees general.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Knowles. Any question? Hearing none. Roll call.
Trustee Noel?
Yes.
Clerk Wright? Yes. Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis?
Yes. Item 15I. Bruce, want to take that one? I need a drink of water.
Sure.
Appropriate.
All right, in conjunction with the sanitary sewer master plan, there's also a water general plan and a reliability study that need to be updated as well. And as Supervisor Curtis indicated, the last one updated as well as 2014. So what this will do is identify all the water infrastructure in Oxford Township, showing the existing conditions of it, what needs to be improved, and some of the future planning and some of the construction that will need to be done with estimated cost on that. The cost to do this project is $25,000 for the actual document. You see that in your packet. You'll see a lot of documents in there, a lot of photographs showing the existing water main structures, the size of the pipes, and just the way the system is laid out. So there's a lot of data in there, very important data for us. So it's a very important document, and we're just looking for approval from the committee standpoint.
I move to approve an amount not to exceed $25,000. Authorize Sharp Engineering to update the Oxford Township Water General Plan and Water Reliability Study. $25,000 amount is to be expensed to the Water Fund, account number 591-538-821.000, engineering fees general.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Knowles. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Knowles?
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Clerk Wright? Yes. Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis?
Yes. Okay, I'm trying to do me tonight with this computer, so we're gonna go down to item 15J, water main engineering design for Seymour Lake Road and Saunders Road. Board members, back when the water was installed in Oxford Township, there were many loops that were left unlooped. In order to build the integrity of the water system, provide the firefighting pressure of water to several subdivisions, and improve the quality of the water itself by moving it, in conjunction, the safety path is being proposed to be installed on Seymour Lake Road. We don't want to put the safety path in, then tear it up and put the water main in. So learning that with the safety path chairman Ferrari, engineer Sharp, wise move here would be to allow the engineering to move forward on the Seymour Lake Road to Sanders Water. Water.
I move to approve an amount not to exceed $70,000 and authorize Sharp Engineering to design a 16-inch water main line along Seymour Lake Road from Dunlap Road to Sanders Road, along Sanders Road to Sandy Shore subdivision. The $70,000 amount to be expensed to water fund account number 591-538-972.000, water line extensions.
Second. You have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Knoll. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Clerk Wright? Yes. Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Trustee Knoll?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis?
Yes. Okay,
Safety package.
item number K, 15K. No, 15L, we're doing 15L before K, that's right. Safety Path Committee.
Board members, in your packet, we got a list of safety path maintenance issues we need to get taken care of for 2024. The committee met, and they've brought a recommendation to get these issues specified, some drawings, and sent out for bids. For the committee to take a look at and make a recommendation to the board at a future meeting. I'll make a motion that the Oxford Township Board of Trustees authorize Sharp Engineering to prepare drawings and specifications, perform the bidding services for the 2024 safety path maintenance issues. The bids are then to go to the Safety Path Committee to make a possible recommendation to the Township Board at a future board meeting. These funds are the expense of the Safety Path Fund.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Clerk Wright. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. L2.
Board members, we've talked about possibly having a safety path village ballot question placed in November. The committee discussed that. We'd like to have the board take a look at that as April 10th meeting, as we discuss all the other ballot issues at that time for police and fire as well. I'll make a motion the Oxford Township Board of Trustees authorize the Kelly Law Firm to draft a safety path village ballot question to be placed on November 5th, 2024 general election ballot. The proposed safety path millage would be an amount of .50 of a mill for a 10-year period. This item is to be placed on the April 10th, 2024 Township Board meeting agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Payne. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
No.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item L3.
Board members, it's been brought to our attention that the planning commission would like to have a planning commissioner on our safety path committee. And we've checked, Chairman Corey Bailey is available for our meetings, and we'd like to have him be a recommended voting member. I'll make a motion that the Oxford Township Board of Trustees appoints planning commissioner Corey Bailey to the Oxford Township Safety Path Committee as a regular member.
Second. A motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Board members, I know we have a member of the Carlisle Workman team out there that is responsible for working with the Safety Path Committee to bring it up to speed. It's a recommendation from the Planning Commission, so with this Planning Commission member added to the team, I think it'll be a great effort. Okay, item K. Board members, we have a committee list of people that are appointed to serve on various boards, commissions, councils, as a representative of Oxford Township. The purpose of this committee list is to assist representatives and inform others who is appointed to numerous committees. And what I'd like to do is move that the maintenance and updates of this committee appointment list for the Charter Township of Oxford, as presented, will go into effect February 15th, 2024.
Second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Curtis, a second by Trustee Noel. Any questions? Yes, sir.
All right, are we approving the administrator or the list?
The list, because that's the only, the appointment list is first. We're approving the list. Committee appointment list.
Or who's disseminating it?
Okay. Let's all vote no. I want to rescind my motion. You can't. You gotta vote no. Roll call?
Clerk Wright, no. Treasurer Ferrari.
No.
Supervisor Curtis.
No.
Trustee Noel.
No.
Trustee Payne.
No.
Trustee Colvin.
No.
Trustee Charles.
No.
Administratively, we're moving the appointment of this committee list to someone else in the department. So rather than assign members at this township board meeting, we're gonna just take that and eliminate it and move on to item 2. Can I do that? Okay, 15K2, updated appointment to the committee list. Board members, the list went out, there was some needed changes to it. Some of the members have been on these committees for 12 to 14 years. Some changes need to be made with, we have $3.5 million in bond monies coming in. There's approval of these monies to be spent. We have a proposal for a community action grant of a couple $1 million possibility coming. A lot of money is being spent. We are changing some of the board members who will be on the Water Sewer Committee. We are adding the addition of Corey Bailey and correcting some dates of those that will be off of the list. I move to approve the amended committee appointment list for the Charter Township of Oxford as presented to be effective immediately and attach the committee appointment list as an appendix to the minutes.
Second for discussion.
I have a motion by Supervisor Curtis and a second by Trustee Noel.
Your questions. You mentioned 3 individuals, Corey Bailey, and changes to the water sewer.
Yes.
I don't have my computer in front of me, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Is there any other changes that's on that list?
just adding, what the old list didn't have on was the Personnel Committee. It didn't have on the, what was the other one it didn't have on?
Website.
Website Committee, and some of the dates were incorrect, so we just made a change and cleaned it up.
Okay, thank you.
Call the roll?
We'll call the roll. Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
No.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Okay, item 3, committee reports. Board members, committee reports are due quarterly and are normally set in the consent agenda as you see them tonight. Part of this recommendation is to bring monthly the committee, the council, the commission, and representative reports. They need to be submitted and included in the consent agenda for each regular Oxford Township meeting. It's an audit trail, risk management, reduction, and it tells us who's doing what and what's going on. We can all read it rather than have the safety path report out, the personnel report out. There's 20-some committees there.
Jack, I agree with you if they have something to report.
Yes.
I just don't want to have to waste your time. My committee did have nothing to report. We're wasting township time, resources, just put nothing to report. If there's something to report, I agree.
And
I
Joe,
agree completely.
if you did the payroll, that wouldn't help you, because if you do the payroll and you don't have a committee report that says you have a committee that actually did work, you could be paying somebody for doing work when there wasn't a committee. It's a risk assessment, a risk management, and an audit trail. We paid Joe, we paid Jack for being on this, well, you wouldn't be paying us, but I use those 2 names.
And then the plan commission.
Yes, Trustee Colvin.
If we're going to do this, I would suggest having a standard format to submit it in.
We
Maybe
do.
a standard memo format, send that out to the team so everyone has.
We will.
That makes sense.
Back this up, so you're saying at every board meeting, we would have feedback from every committee?
Every committee meeting would report to the board, and it will be in the consent agenda unless there's something recommended for this board to approve.
So it'd be included, but we would have to discuss it and
No.
all that kind of stuff? Because
No.
that's the, time efficiency, otherwise
Oh,
it'd be the council.
no, it's the same that we do right now. It's required every quarter
So every committee meeting, we'd have to have that in the minutes? Or
Yeah.
in-
in the consent agenda.
I don't know, off the cuff, it seems like busy work to me.
No. Till you get on your payroll and pay somebody who didn't do something they were saying they did, then it all of a sudden.
No, I get it, I understand, there's pros and
Yeah.
cons to it.
There is. Yes, trustee Noel.
I fill out many of these every month. I don't mind doing them, but there is a lapse in some of this. If our paperwork is due on the 7th, that was last week for the meeting tonight, there are meetings that are held on the 8th and 9th that aren't captured, but sometimes they're captured on the next month.
Yes.
So the board just needs to be aware that there's a little lapse in time with due dates. We do our best, and sometimes it does fall through the cracks.
The committee report would state, Safety Path Committee met on the 9th or the 8th of February, and on the March report, you'd have a February 8th or 9th meeting in there, and there'd be a trail.
Question. Would this also be a substitute for filling out the committee compensation?
No, right now, you still need to fill out the committee compensation. This is just a trail. I move that the committee and council commission and representative reports be written, submitted, and included with the consent agenda for each regular Oxford Township Board of Trustees committee meetings. If a representative on any of these bodies serves as a chairperson, the chairperson shall be responsible for submitting the monthly report.
Second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Curtis. I have a second by Clerk Wright. Any questions? Yes, sir, Trustee Noel.
I would add the village activities that we do at the village.
You're on, that would be a committee of the township.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
No.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
No.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles.
No.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. What's that tally?
I have 4 to 3 in favor.
Thank you. Item number 15M, Parks and Rec Resolution. We have some issues. Bill, do you want to explain to us what we need to do?
Good evening. Minor issues, but I appreciate you adding this to your agenda tonight. So we were a few steps ahead of the township. We went through our 5-year recreation master plan over the last year. Finishing it at our January commission meeting, we had our public hearing. We had our commission pass the resolution and submitted all the paperwork to the state. They got back to us this week saying it was denied because it was not approved by the township board. So they sprung that on us last minute. The resolution that you were sent, that you have in your packet, is what is required by the state to go on file with our Parks and Recreation Master Plan. So
I'll make a motion to adopt the Oxford Charter Township of Oxford Charter Township 2024 to 2028 Parks and Recreation Master Plan as presented.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Charles. Are there any questions? Yes,
What are we approving tonight?
we are approving the resolution for the parks, the master plan.
yeah, the resolution basically states that you're taking the Parks and Recreation Commission's recommendation that this plan be approved, and you are authorizing that approval. So you're concurring with that recommendation.
Okay, go ahead, Clerk Wright.
Yeah, just a question that was posed to me, and I'll bring that up. In the certification statement, it indicates, and I'll read that, it says that I, Curtis W. Wright, the duly qualified clerk of Oxford Charter Township, Oakland County, Michigan, do hereby certify that the foregoing is a true and correct copy of a resolution adopted at a regular meeting of the Oxford Charter Township Board of Trustees held on February 14th, and that public notices of said meeting were given pursuant to Act 267, Public Acts of Michigan 1976 as amended. So the public notices, is that referring back to your public
Yes,
notices? that
yeah,
we
so
covered?
we put the public notices in the paper. We had the public hearing pursuant to those requirements.
You know, said meeting is of that meeting, not ours.
That's correct. It's referring back to their meeting. They had a statutory requirement to notice that meeting. They did meet that requirement.
Good. Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes,
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes.
Thank you. And the township does have a copy of that master plan out on your front desk there, and I do have a couple extra copies if anyone needs one, and we have it electronically.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Glad we could get this in for you. Item 16, items removed from the consent agenda for action. We had none. Item 17, public comments at this time. Yes, come on up, Brian.
Good evening, Brian Cloutier, Oxford Public Library. A couple things. One, I just want to note that, excuse me, the gas line for our backup generator is expected to either go in later this week or next week, according to the timeline that we got from Consumers Energy. In order to have the generator capacity that we are installing for the public library, we did need to have a second gas line and meter installed. You've been down that road, so you understand that. Outside of that, the generator is expected to be installed early spring. It's still not in warehouse, so we're still waiting on supply chain issue. However, now that we have expended the deposit for the generator itself, I will be submitting a memo to the clerk, or who, I'm assuming it goes to clerk, for disbursement of that fund that you had agreed on.
Yes.
Another issue, I hear you talk a lot about water and sewer tonight. I just want to bring to your attention, all of you know, water in the township is not the best quality in terms of its mineral content that it has in it. We have a very sophisticated steam heat system in our building, and as part of that system, we spent tens of thousands of dollars having it upgraded through this last HVAC overhaul. The system itself lasted about a year, and we're already spending about $4,000 because of the calcium buildup within that system. It should not be a surprise that I'm mentioning this, because this is something that I hear a lot about in this community. I don't know if anything can be done on your end. We're going to continue to do everything we can on our end, short of putting in an entire building filtration system. We might have to put in a system for that steam heat humidification. But it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. And I know that the water's safe. I do get that. I'm not here saying the water quality is not safe. I'm just saying because of the content of the water, it's wreaking havoc on our steam heat humidification system. And because we're a public library, it's something we have to have. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Any input that you can look into that, it certainly would be appreciated.
Thank you, Brian. Any other members of the public have any comment? Come on up, sir.
I don't know if this is the right place to inject it. Bill Zadko, 1245 South Pier, Ed Right Outdoors, our company. The second reading, or the first reading of the sign ordinance, I didn't know, there was no open comment there. Maybe I should have said it back then. May I talk about that now, briefly? Because it's late in the day and I don't want to keep you guys. First of all, I'd like to express gratitude for you guys even taking on such a project as this LED sign revamping. It's a huge task, and I'm hoping at the end of it that I'll be able to convert my existing billboard that I've had for 30 years to a smaller, shorter version of itself in the digital format. But I would love to, if you've got time, and I can send a note to this later if I read too fast. And by the way, I wrote it down so I wouldn't have these things out of sequence. There's a couple inconsistencies in the draft of regulations. For example, the exception allowing conversion of billboards to EMS signs, which is in section 9B2 on page 27 of the regulations, starts out by saying the board may grant an exception to the height and area requirements set forth in 9B of the ordinance. Well,
there are two 9Bs, one on page 27 and one on page 23, and that one refers to the center identification signs. I think it's just a typo, but perhaps if it's cleaned up, the ambiguity would be just gone. Additionally, I'd love to find out if my existing sign would be subject to the height and size and spacing requirements of an ordinary billboard. Seems something that's been there 30 years, having to do the same specs when this is being revisited is inconsistent. But that's all the comments I had. And by the way, I'd be happy to help with the rewriting or reworking of any of these items. Been in the sign business 35 years. If it would be helpful to Kyle R. Wortman or you folks, we're happy to help or assist. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the public? Seeing none at this time. Item number 18, Board of Trustee comments. Start with Trustee Cole this time.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Nothing for me.
Trustee Noel?
No, thank you.
Treasurer Ferrari?
I was just letting you know, 2023 closed out. Looks like we're gonna do pretty well with our interest for general fund. We had interest for tax budget at 25,000. We came at 149,000. We had that along with trustees and the other ones. We're gonna have quite a healthy addition to our general fund.
Pretty smart us moving those monies to the MI, wasn't it?
That worked out well.
Super. Clerk Wright?
No comments.
Trustee Charles?
Of course, if I skipped earlier.
Yes, sir.
One quick thing, I know
Yours.
Catherine mentioned about the DDA. The other thing I will mention that we're working on, we have a subcommittee that I put together to demonstrate the value of the DDA to our community. I started thinking about this last month when we were talking about the TIF plan, etc. Second thing, Clerk Wright talked about the spongy moth, gypsy moth, whatever we want to call them, the bugs. We're going to put that committee to bed somewhat. I've talked with our so-called experts in Oakland and Macomb County as recently as this morning. Plus, as he indicated, we drove around the township of the hot spots. We didn't see any evidence of gypsy moths at all. But the experts, if there are such things, did caution me as recently as this morning that this fall we should probably do another tour of the hot spots just to verify that this has been suppressed. Okay? That's about it, other than I appreciate Mr. Zadko coming here and offering his services for the signs.
Thank you. I have no further comments.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, 2 seconds, one from Trustee Payne, one from Trustee Colvin. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed can stay here.